Hello, my name's Rob Edwards and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to be talking some more WandaVision. This is going to be spoilerific for episode 7 specifically, but obviously anything before series 7's fair game as well. So if you're not caught up with the series already, I would really recommend you go off and watch it. So, I had my video last week where I laid out my big theory. How did my big theory stand up to the reveals of episode 7? I mean, fine, alright? Fine. You want it to be Mephisto? It can be Mephisto. You want it to be Chthon? It can be Chthon. I'm not the boss of you. If that's what you want, it would have been nice to have it set up in such a way that we could have all seen it coming, as opposed to waiting to the last minute of episode 7 with only 2 episodes left. Marvel, what are we going to do with you? Well, yeah. It's pretty much blown it out of the water. I think basically everything that I said last time can largely be ignored, which is, delightful. I'm absolutely ecstatic that happened. But, at least I have the comfort of being not the only person. There was so much speculation on the internet that when Monica went to meet her guy, the aerospace engineer, that it was going to be Reed Richards. And it just wasn't. It wasn't even a guy, in fact. But, that could just been used colloquially anyway. So, we get this reveal that it's been Agatha all along. And I am resisting singing it. It has been Agatha all along. And, that's great. That, on one level, that's brilliant. That means we have effective storytelling. We've had a bad guy in front of us from, not minute 1, but certainly from day 1, and that we can sort of look back and see what she's been up to, and that credit sequence lets us do that, lets us see the sort of things that she's been doing to affect the world around her. But it's not explained everything. We just still don't really know the why of it, or even the mechanics of how it all started. Is this something that Agatha began and pulled Wanda into? Is it something that Wanda has begun, but Agatha has subverted? I think there's all sorts of interesting reveals still to come about how this all set up. And in particular, we still have the question of whether there is a Mephisto, whether there is a Chthon character waiting in the wings to be revealed to be Agatha's lord and master, or ally, or henchperson. Not really, I can't imagine Mephisto being a henchperson to anyone, but you get what I mean. And we have the mid-credit sequence, which we will talk about later on, that might point in one direction or another. But there are still questions, and I'm not sure that necessarily answered everything quite as neatly as I think it was trying to. For example, we get a line from Hayward during this episode, which basically says that the Hex is no longer transmitting. They're not receiving any information from the Hex about what Wanda is doing. So why are we still sort of bound into this sitcom format and the progression of the sitcom format into sort of the modern day, the modern family, as it were? And I don't know that that's terribly well explained here. Can I say, I really love the pairing of Vision and Darcy. I think the two characters really sparkle each other really well, and I very much enjoy the chemistry between them. They're absolutely wonderful. And I don't really have very much to say about the Vision-Darcy strand, because it was really very much them about catching Vision up to what's going on in the world and pushing him forwards towards what is, I'm assuming, some sort of confrontation at the end of the series. But there is one little interesting bit which ties in again to my thought about why is it still transmitting. And we do have this kind of bit where Vision is giving his testimonial, realises that he's been crazy, that he should be getting on and getting to his wife. And it cuts out of the testimonial and very briefly back into the van that he and Darcy were in, and Vision flies up out of the ceiling. kind of implying that the whole testimonial thing was all happening in his head, that all that time when he was outside, sitting in a chair with a lab mic on, talking to our off-screen, presumably Agatha again, that was all happening in his head. And that's interesting. I don't know what it means, but I feel it should mean something. Also, something that I want to talk about, which is not necessarily expanding my theory crafting at all, but I just want to acknowledge how cool Monica is in her origin story. I love the sort of the vision of her pushing through the barrier and kind of coping with her DNA being rewritten a third time, and how that has affected her and given her powers. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what that manifests as. I mean, we saw her ability to see the spectrums, and I do wonder if that means that we're looking at spectrum rather than photon. I mean, I get that photon would be quite a nice nod to her mum's old code name as a sort of sign of respect. And I can certainly see a dialogue in the future, just like photon, just like your mum, you're a hero like her. Oh, I should use Photon as a name. And that would tie in, and that would be quite nice. I'd quite like her to be her own character. I'd quite like her, though, to be her own person. And calling her Spectrum certainly fits a bit more in with what powers we've seen her have so far. It's not just about a photon of light. Although she does look great, and I do enjoy the fact that she got, count them, 2 superhero landings in this episode. One of them a bit kind of sloppy as she came out of the barrier, and then the second one as she superhero lands after getting free of Wanda, and she does that kind of look up to the camera with the glowing blue eyes, and oh man, that superhero, fantastic. So again, I love the fact that from a storytelling point of view, the reveal of Agnes being Agatha Harkness and having been a prime mover in all the stuff which has been going on in Westview. I love the fact that I was convinced she was a bad guy until the week before's misdirect when she's in the car where she meets Vision. So that's quite neat writing, to actually have me convinced that she was a bad guy all along and then wrong foot me just before the reveal. I quite enjoy that. That's pretty neat. Although, again, we do have this slight problem of it being not just set up, which is a good thing, but kind of obvious, which I'm less happy about. I mean, I guess real talk, it's a little disappointing that Marvel have gone the route again of having a villain who opposes our hero with very similar powers. It's Marvel 101. It's Ironmonger. It's Killmonger? Ironmonger? Lots of mongers. But, that aside, I think Catherine Hahn in this role is absolutely magnificent. She is a core part of what is making this series great, along with Wanda and Vision and Darcy and Jimmy Woo. And can I just say, I really love WandaVision. I think it's a brilliant show. And I'm really looking forward, once it's all out, to going back and re-watching from the start and seeing if there's stuff we missed that sets up reveals that are yet to come. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I was quite happy with my theory from last time. I thought it actually explained quite a lot, I think. And so here we are. We're in a world where that's not turned out to be the case. Although I still think it could be. I think there's still potential. It's a bit weird, don't you think, that why would Agatha Harkness change her name? I mean, that just feels a bit artificial. So are we looking at a person hiding behind a person hiding behind a person? It's really Alt Wanda being Agatha Harkness being Agnes? I mean, it could be, right? So, here we are at the end of episode 7, and there's been a lot of reveals. We've revealed the bad guy, we've certainly revealed a bad guy, and that's pretty promising. But I think we've still got quite a lot still to be answered. Was the person that Monica went to meet, was that her aerospace engineer, or is there a reveal yet to come on that? Who is Pietro? I thought for a while there we weren't going to see him in this episode at all. I did see his name in the end credits and think, that's weird. Are we just crediting for his flashback appearances and in the recap and stuff like that? But no, of course, he makes an appearance in this episode as well. Snooper's going to snoop. But who is he? Because Wanda is pretty adamant now that it's not her brother, which I think makes sense. But does this mean that Pietro is going to be revealed to be Mephisto or Chthon or whoever else we're talking about? I don't know. Could be fun finding out, though. What is Hayward planning? I mean, again, just what is that about? What is this big thing that's going to happen that he's putting into plan tomorrow? Because I think that's going to have pretty big ramifications for what's happening in the Hex. I mean, is he going to nuke it? I mean, if he wants Vision, does he feel that Vision would survive the nuke and it would be fine? How would he feel about the casualties? It's really interesting, and I'm curious what that's going to be about. How badly, for all concerned on that subject, how badly is this series going to end for everybody? I mean, Billy and Tommy, are they gone? Are they prisoners in Agatha's basement? Will they survive the series? I mean, there's all sorts of talk about Marvel wanting to do Young Avengers coming up, and Wiccan and Speed are so core part of that. So on one level, I think they feel that they kind of have to survive. But I just can't help feel that at some point we're going to have them completely cut away from Wanda to really drive home the stakes of what's going on here. So how badly is this going to end? How much of a downer will the ending be? And my final question, which a lot of reaction channels haven't said anything about, and it's probably nothing. It's probably nothing, given my results of theory crafting, as we've seen. It's probably absolutely nothing. But in the opening credits, where we see the Wanda, and then WandaVision right at the end, we again get to look at a calendar. And again, we have a little heart circled over one of the dates. And the dates haven't been crossed off. We're not sort of past the heart. It does look like the heart is still to come. So, does that mean that there is something about the heart which is yet to be revealed? I don't know. Are we going to find out that there is another character, another good guy character coming to the rescue, perhaps, still? Don't know. Good. Anyway, that's it from me for another episode. I expect to be back again next week to talk about whatever craziness happens in episode 8. But for now, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.